Little pre-round video. This is Kennel Lake Sportsman's Club. This has been in, I don't know how long this course has been in, 5 years? They did kind of a trial run for a tournament, but it wasn't open to the public. I think it was the Ledgestone tournament. Maybe they even did a Kennel Lake tournament. Anyway, last year they tried to pilot, because it wasn't open to the public, they tried to pilot a new pay-to-play, so $5 to get in, and seemed to work out well. So that's what it is, $5 to play around. It's pretty reasonable. This is a really nice course, well taken care of, manicured, all that good stuff. Some tricky holes depending on the pin positions. There's a couple baskets near water. I don't know if I've done a video out here. I'll have to check mine, but yeah, it's a good course. Hopefully we do all right. The weather's really nice. It's 80 degrees, slight breeze, just a little humid, so we'll see how the grip goes. It's been humid the last couple weeks here in Illinois. But yeah, my backhand's been a little inconsistent. Forehand's been okay, so we'll see how that works out, because there are a couple holes out here that are pretty much their backhand holes. There's really not a good forehand route. So yeah, so hopefully things go well and see how it goes. Beautiful day though, no complaints. All right, hole 1, Kennel Lake, 405 feet, plays a little bit shorter. Kind of a tricky hole. I play this for a 3. I can't get down there. There's a couple big guardian trees that are 80 to 100 feet out that kind of block the path down there. You really got to be able to crush to get it to punch through all that stuff, or lucky skip. But you don't get a lot of skips on this grass. So this is one of 3 holes a day that I will be throwing a backhand. And first shot of the day, you'll notice something not great happens. So a little slippage on the tee pad. These tee pads are kind of interesting. So slow motion here, you see my front foot just slides. There's sand. It's a really thin layer of turf than the sand. That kind of tweaked my back a little bit. I felt a little pain shoot out my back. Luckily that did not hit me or affect me too much the rest of the day, but that did not feel great. So I immediately, now that I know footing's a little sketchy, I had a MVP Octane. I switched to a Catalyst just because I'm really tentative right now. I always throw 2 off the first, by the way. So I'm really tentative here. I probably should have thrown something a little flippier, because this right here, if you watch closely, kind of flips up but then runs out of steam. I didn't put a lot of heat into it because I was worried about the footing. But again, I play this for 3, so not a big deal. Left myself about 100 feet out. I could probably throw a putter right at it, but it's kind of hard to see that it is. I'm kind of up on a plateau. It does drop down about 5 feet, and there are some woods behind it. Not really huge danger, but I feel I can control the distance a little better. This is my TI flex zone, so I just like to flip it out there. I actually thought I flipped it a little too far to the left, but it was fine. So just, again, playing for the easy 3, not trying to do anything crazy on that one, and move on to the holes that are a little bit easier for me to birdie. Hole 2, par 3, 270, plays closer to 250. It is downhill, so you're throwing from kind of up on, I don't know, maybe 10-20 feet of elevation change, but it does drop down. The grass is really thick, so you can't anticipate a skip. So I like to throw a forehand Felon. This is probably my most overstable fairway driver. I just like to crank it out to the left and let it come back. And this one, I was a little tentative on it. I didn't put a lot of power on it, and I wanted to throw it either a little wider or a little harder, because I did leave myself a little short here, probably about, I don't know, 40. Definitely outside of circle 1, but I was a little tentative because I didn't want to throw it too hard and end up deep, but at least give myself a putt, and turned out really well. That was a good sign of things to come. That was the first of a couple long putts that I made on the day, and I will take it. Hole 3, not a super difficult hole, but definitely has a lot of danger. I throw a forehand. This is a really tough backhand hole. So you see there's a lot of stuff on the left, stuff on the right. I will say that if you go short and right, I won't say there's no way to get a par, but you are pretty much getting bogey. Same thing on the left, unless you get quite a ways up the fairway. But at least on the left, you can kind of pitch out and around the corner. But right is jail. It's almost automatic bogey. And this one, I just threw my purple trace, which I just got a hole-in-one with last week. No, actually it was 2 weeks ago, and just absolutely parked it. So that was probably one of my best shots of the day. And that leads us into hole 4. This is one of the more unique holes. Really like this hole. I'm a big fan of par 4 or par 5 holes that are just, they don't require a ton of distance, but you really need a placement shot. So you'll see the gap straight ahead. There is a Mando on the left side of that. When this course first went in back in 2020, people would throw short of that, and then they would throw, actually some people with the power arms would just go up and over. I used to throw it way to the left, almost by the tee pad for the next hole, and then go up and around the left side, but they put that Mando in to prevent people from doing that. So I did not throw a great shot. I threw a forehand. I wanted to punch through this and kind of get over to the other side, but it just dropped quickly. Luckily, it left me right in the middle here. It's kind of wide open. Now, this normally would be a backhand shot, I think, for 90% of the people, but my backhand has just been super, super sketchy. So here I did kind of throw a turnover flex forehand, and it was, I won't say perfect, but really, really, really good. It clipped the branch, so I thought I was outside of circle 1, but once I got up here, I realized I was 15 feet away, and this is a very, very, very good birdie to get. Again, not super long, not super difficult, but a lot of trouble to get into with the Mando and that creek area. And you go from a tricky hole 4 to hole 5, which is about as straightforward as you can get. Nothing much to this. I just, with the low ceiling, and didn't realize there was a little leaf that's floating around there, I don't do a good job of getting it there. This hole is only about 340, 350-ish. But with the low ceiling, I just don't have the power to punch through low. So I'll just throw kind of a forehand like I did in the second shot last hole. And that worked pretty well. I know if a lot of people, I mean, that went maybe 300, but, and a little off to the side. So it left me like 65, 70. I think, no, I'm actually outside of circle 2. So here it's just, yeah, definitely outside circle 2. So I'm just throwing this up here. This is another one. I mean, I'd really like to get a birdie on it, but I'm not trying to punch through because the wood line on the left there is nasty. So if you try to get ultra aggressive and for some reason skip or flip it over or do anything stupid and get in those, you are just pitching out. There's really no way out of that. So yeah, this is similar to hole number 1 where I am perfectly happy with the 3. The only time I'm getting a 2 is if I make a really, really long putt, which did not happen today. Hole 6 is pushing 400. This is, again, for me, this is just a little out of reach. Best case scenario for me is I get it to the opening of the hole, which is probably every bit of 350. And it's just, I'm just not doing that again. Semi-low ceiling here, not a lot of room. That's the thing. I could probably push a forehand 350, 360, but I need a little space. I need a little air, so I can kind of flex it up there and have it do some work. So these low ceiling holes, I just don't have the power to punch it 400 or 380 low ceiling. So I threw a pretty good shot. It did clip a branch. Luckily it dropped right here in the middle. If you get off to the right or off to the left, it's kind of a tricky approach. I do like this. It narrows to about a 10-12 foot gap right there, as you see them punching through there, and then it's up on a little plateau area, and you've got a little bit of room to work. That one, I almost thought I threw it a little too hard, but that's a little forehand zone. This, I will put hole number 1, hole number 5, and hole number 6 into my just give me a 3 and I'm happy. Hole 7 is the second of 3 par 4s on the course, and this one is tricky. So it's wide open. There's a tree. It's kind of hard to see, but there's the tree right off the tee pad, and then straight out in the fairway, there's just one tree. All you want to do is throw this way out there, get as much distance as you can, and throw it to the left. I actually got a little early release. I want that to be about 30 feet further left. I actually hit the only tree in the fairway, and I'm left with this crappy lie. So I was not happy with this. So the hole, there's a little pole there, which I think is for a volleyball or something else. And then just to the left of that is the gap. And this, even if you throw a perfect drive, this is a very, very, very difficult second shot because you have to hit the gap and then it drops down a little bit. I'll do a short video here in a second and show you what it looks like. So the only option I had right here was just to kind of punch a forehand, and this probably my second best shot of the day. I thought I was down by the basket. Everything was great. This is the opening to hole 7, all the way down, across the bridge to the basket. So again, I thought my shot was great. I actually spent about 10 minutes trying to find the disc because I thought it was long and left. What ended up happening was it just missed those trees on the left, but it's on the right here, and it ended up skipping, finishing to the right or here on the left in those bushes. And so I pretty much didn't have much of a shot. This is outside circle 1. I kind of have a weird, awkward straddle, and I'm just kind of hoping to give it enough to maybe go in. The problem is I don't really want to run it hard because if it hits the basket and rolls back down in that little creek there, it's not far. It's still inside circle 1, but then you've got an awkward 20, 25 footer coming back, and I don't want to do that. So that one I just kind of laid it up. I wussed it up there. I did not run it like I probably should have, but again, I didn't want to do anything silly. And a 4 is fine here. There's nothing wrong with a 4 on this hole. 3 is fantastic, but 4 is very, very, very common. 5 and 6 are even more common. But solid, no complaints. Hole 8 is probably one of the easier holes on the course, but not for me because it's the second of 3 holes that I throw backhand on, and my backhand is just... I've got a lot of work to do on it. I'm inconsistent with my release, my turn, my plant, all that stuff. So right here, honestly, I know it's not the negative mindset you want on the tee. All I'm thinking here is hit the gap. Hit the gap. Hit the gap. And so I kind of stand up a little early, and I actually hit the gap. It was not that bad. The problem is I didn't put a lot of power into it, so it finished left. And if I just give it 10% more power, I'm out there putting inside circle 1 for deuce, but I am not. And this one took me a few minutes to find as well because I thought I actually cleared it. I mean, I heard it hit the branches, but I thought I was further to the right in this video, but I was not. I was deep. I was probably 10, 12 feet in there, and I did not want to take the camera in there, but there was nothing. I just had to pitch out. And I even threw this one as it comes out. I actually threw it kind of hard, but there was just so many branches in the way I could not get it much further than that without worrying about sending it 50 feet by. So yeah, it took me that long to get in there, figure out what to throw. I think I took 3 or 4 discs in there, and literally that's all I had. And I did not want to deal with the camera movement, so I got stickers and thorns and every other thing you can think of. This is definitely one you really, really need to get a 2 on, but again, backhand, it's not my jam right now, so hopefully I can make up the strokes on some of the slightly harder holes that are forehand, because it's more my jam right now. All right, hole 9, in my opinion, this is one of the hardest par 3s on the course, just for the way it's set up, how difficult it is to get a birdie, how narrow it is. So it's probably 80, 90 feet to a gap, and then it's just a tunnel. It does go down and then back up, but the tunnel's probably 15 feet wide, maybe a little wider all the way up. So here I throw a forehand. It's really, really nice, and it just barely clips that tree, but then skips up. I probably made it 300 feet up there, but even right here, if you're able to hit the gap, get all the way up here, even another 20, 30 feet, the problem is the basket is perched up on a little, I won't even call it a plateau, it's just on a tiny little hill, and it does drop off long and left here. So here I'm laying up short. You'll see when we get up to the basket, it's not a huge drop off, but it's enough that even if you're in circle 1, you're gonna have kind of a annoying little putt. So I was throwing a couple of practice shots here throughout the round because this isn't a tournament round or anything. So easy 3, and then the second one ended up over here. But you see how it drops off a little bit. So if you try to run that, you could very easily be circle's edge in the bushes and tough putt for 3 or 4. But if you get off the fairway, it is nasty on both the right and the left side. All right, hole 10, pretty straightforward hole here, straight ahead. It is listed as about, I think it's 320, 325, but it does play uphill a little bit. So I think it plays closer to 350. And this, I think it's further than this. I've never taken a rangefinder out here. I think it plays closer to 370, 380. And that one, I threw a good shot. It just didn't turn over enough. So faded out. There is OB. You can't see it right here, but I'm right next to a little picnic area. So we've got tables and a pavilion that is out of bounds. So I was a little disappointed. My forehand, I can usually get it up there, but I would rather err on the side of missing to the right, because left is bushes and you're not going to do anything out of that. I mean, it's a thick, thick line of bushes. So that's why I throw forehand and not backhand. And so this was probably 70 feet, 80 feet. So I did have to jump putt it a little out of my standing putt range. And those were not the best. They were fading off left. I really want to start those further right and get a better chance. But again, I'm not upset. I can deuce this one, but I can't really park it. It's kind of a little out of my range. But yeah, a lot of holes like this out here. A lot of 320, 340, 380, decently difficult par threes. This one is not difficult, so it's par three. It says 300. I think it plays ever so slightly downhill. So this is I believe the third hole that I throw backhand on. Holes 1, 8, and this are my only backhand. So there's a nice little hyzer out here, and that is my more overstable trace. It was actually a decent line, but I need that to be a little lower and a little more turn to kind of push through. So I left myself on the back edge of circle 2 here. But you can see there is just trees and bushes all along the left side. So not really, I don't think there's a good forehand route. So I have no problem with the backhand here. And I am running this. So this is right on the back end of the range where I will not jump putt it. And nailed it. That was my longest putt of the day up to that point. Nice 60-footer. See, that's what I wanted to do on the previous hole. The difference is this was from about 60 feet. The other one was about 80, 70, 80. So it was just a little bit further. All right, hole 12. This one, love this hole. So back in 2020, I played in, I don't know if it's the Ledgestone or some tournament, and I aced it with this disc. So I'm actually throwing the same disc that I got an ace on this. I threw a huge forehand way out wide left, and it did a big flare skip. I mean, it skipped probably 50 feet to the right and slammed into the chains. So I'm throwing the same disc. Now to get that kind of ground play, I need this to be a little lower so it can push through with the distance, and it needs to be wider. And that one, this is actually a pretty good shot. The problem is I got the nose up a little bit, so it went a little higher than I wanted, and I didn't start it far enough left. So I actually ended up right in line with the basket. The problem is it's just outside of circle 1. I don't remember, maybe circle 1, maybe just outside, but I've got these 2 trees here, and I like to hyzer putt. So this is a really tricky putt for me. I'm gonna have to throw kind of a turnover putt, and it does drop off a little bit behind the basket. Similar to hole 9, not a big drop off, but it just hit the front of the basket. Not a huge drop off, but enough that can hit and roll and put you on the edge of the bushes from circle's edge, and you don't really want to do that. So I was a little conservative on that, but I tried to run it. I just didn't run it really hard. A little disappointed. Definitely feel like that's set up for my forehand a little better than some of the other holes, but no bogey, so no big deal. All right. 13, this is one you really want to get. A lot of danger, thick woods on the right, so you don't want to go over there. But once you get through the gap, I think to clear the gap it's about 220, and so I'm throwing my forehand felon, and I threw what I thought was a really good shot, just a little too high, and it clipped a couple branches up there and knocked it down short. Otherwise the line was perfect, and it does open up quite a bit, and I left myself right inside circle 1. So this is maybe 28 feet, a little over 25. And up to this point, I feel pretty confident with my putts, and I did something here that I don't like, and this is a habit that I've got to break. So right here, look where my arm is, it's pointing down. I did not follow through on my putt, and that's, I don't think I realized I did that during the round, and then I threw a second one here that I followed through and I missed that. But that's, I don't like missing those circle 1 putts. So I had it, the first putt I missed, it was dead on. And I'm going to stop this video a couple times later to show you that I did the same thing on a couple other holes. But yeah, I've got to remember to follow through. They always say paint the pole, like follow through to the pole, not let your arm drop off. But I kind of want that one back. That's one I really thought I'd be able to get. All right, hole 14. This one's pushing upper 300. This one's out of my range. It's upper 300s because it plays uphill. So this one, I'm throwing my forehand octane, and I've gotten into a lot of trouble on this hole because it's not a narrow gap and it's not even a super low ceiling, but there's been times where I've tried to overpower it and I end up throwing it into the ground, and then I'm sitting 250 feet back or 200 feet back. And the wind, although the wind doesn't really affect a lot of holes out here, this one it does. So the last thing you want to do on a par 3 is leave yourself way back 200 feet out with crosswinds coming in. So there, my jump putt, that first one there was not good. So this is pushing, this is probably 80 feet. That one's better. I need to remember on those jump putts to kind of float it out to the right and let it fade back in. But first one was close. So you'll notice that on a lot of these, since this is a casual round, I'll throw 2, but I always throw my first one. So my first one kind of tailed out to the left there, but still 12 feet. Got the 3. I don't know if I've ever deuced that hole. I'm trying to think back. I haven't played this course a ton, but I don't think I've ever got a 2 on that. All right, hole 15. This is one I probably should throw a backhand, and most normal people would throw a backhand. So the basket, it's kind of hard to see. There's a tree in front of me and then 2 trees a little further ahead just to the right. It sets up, so there's thick grass on there. It sets up for a nice backhand shot, just throw it down there, but I have no confidence in that. So I threw a forehand shot. Surprisingly, I know it doesn't seem like it's a smart shot, but I'll throw a turnover forehand, and it left me right down here, again, just inside circle 1 putting. So similar to what we talked about 2 holes ago or 3 holes ago when I was putting. So watch my follow through on this one. So first putt, felt really good. And then second putt, missed short. So again, I didn't notice this during the round. I noticed I was missing when I would putt 2, I'd make the first one, miss the second. So the first putt here, similar to the other one, my arm pointed at the basket, nice follow through, went in. And then the second one, a little different. So notice, so I followed through, but then my arm went down. And I don't know if my arm going down is having an impact on the elevation of the disc, but I've noticed the ones in the video that I left short were ones where I didn't follow through. All right, hole 16. This is probably one of my favorite holes on the course. It's beautiful. You're throwing over water. It's not a lot to clear the water. I want to say it's maybe 230 to clear the water. You've got OB along the path on the left. You don't want to clip those trees on the right. So for me, this is just throw a power forehand out there, let it fade around the corner, and I cured this one. This was just beautiful. Crushed it around the corner. I mean, I could not have placed it any better. Which sets me up with this, and this is, I don't know what it is about this hole. This is a tricky upshot. Again, I think part of it is because I'm not comfortable with my backhand. I'd say this is about 250, maybe a little bit longer, but it is playing uphill. I should probably throw backhand here, but I threw forehand just because at this point in time, I have no confidence in my backhand. So I threw this one. It was actually a good line. I was aiming up by that tree. The problem was there was a slight headwind, and I think I threw the wrong disc. That was my felon that's not super overstable. So I left myself way, way, way too far up here. So this is, again, back edge of circle 2. Putting for birdie, and it does drop off a bit behind there, and I did not want to leave myself a circle 1 putt, and nailed that. Back edge of circle 1, so you can drops off a little. I didn't want to leave myself a circle 1 putt from 30 feet for par, so I kind of went a little conservative on the first one. A little upset that I got a par in that one after the really good drive. All right, hole 17. This is a nasty hole. We're playing the short pin because the long pin is not in. So the short pin is just 300 feet straight ahead, maybe a little bit longer. I forget the actual distance. So I'm just throwing a forehand. The long is actually way to the right. So you have to throw over that water, land on a little peninsula, and then your upshot throws over water and lands on a peninsula too. So this was actually a pretty good shot, but I clipped a branch there. Low ceiling. That's a common theme on a lot of the holes out here. A lot of low
not super low ceilings, but enough that it does come into play. And so I clipped the ceiling, left myself out here. This is probably 45, maybe even pushing 50, but it's a putt for 2. And based on what I've been doing today, you never know what'll happen. Boom. That was almost dead center. That was a beautiful, beautiful putt. Very happy with that. So this is the kind of putt I like, out to about back edge of circle 2. Just float it, hyzer putt it, leave it a little out to the right. And that was just, loved it. So there's 3 big putts I got. Holes 2, 11, and now 17. Which leads us to hole 18. This again, for most people, is a backhand hole. So you've got bushes and then water, and the water does come up under those bushes, so you got to be really careful. I'm going to throw a forehand. And I know this seems counterintuitive, but watch the flight of this. That thing is super unstable, so I just kind of float them out here. And I got to be careful, because if I throw that disc too far, that is an understable insanity. This hole's only probably plays about 230. You can easily see how it drops off towards the water there, but the way I threw that one, I wasn't really concerned about that. All right, so this is the last hole, putting for birdie. Watch the putts. So that one felt pretty good. Threw a second one for practice. It's the same setup. So here's the first putt, follow through. Notice my hand is, although it does drop a little bit, but my hand is pointing towards the basket, a little low, and then the second one that I missed, again, my follow through, I was pointing down. So that's something I'm going to work on next time I practice my putting, just make sure to keep my arm up and pointing at the basket. And I actually sat here and putted for a few minutes after, and as painful as this is to say, I putted from the exact same spot 6 times, and every one of the 6 times I made one of 2. So this is actually, I think, the 6th or 7th time where I finally hit both. I was a little frustrated, but I ended up doing that. But yeah, it was 5 different times I putted, and I make the first one, miss the second. Next time, miss the first, make the second. And it was just trying to repeat that. But again, I didn't have the video evidence of me following through, so that's something I'll work on for next time. And that's a wrap. So 7 under round of 50 with the 3 par 4s. You had hole 4, and then you had hole 7 and hole 16 with the par 4s. So pretty good round, no bogeys, a couple long putts, a couple short miss ones. Need to work on the straddle putts out of the woods. But yeah, overall, circle 1 percentage decent. Again, that one on hole 13 really wanted back. Most of the other ones I was pretty happy, though, hitting 3 circle 2 putts. Was able to scramble out of the woods a couple times I got in there, and driving accuracy, again, I think was pretty solid, only because I avoided throwing backhand. I think if you made me throw backhand the entire round, this would not have been a pretty round. But yeah, if you guys ever get a chance to come out and play Kennel Lake, it's really nice. Go to Udisc. You can see there's a Venmo account, $5 a play. I think it's well worth it. Anybody coming out for Ledgestone, you will definitely enjoy the course. So Kennel Lake Sportsman Club. All right, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you for my next video.